Okay, so welcome back. And yeah, I'm making a stink face because it smells atrocious down here. For those of you that maybe missed the first video, you're going to have to go back to the start on this. This is round 2 of where we're at with that javelina on the property that is in the process of decomposing. Is that how you say it? Well, gross. The smell is something else. So as I rounded the corner to come down here to the shed to keep going on the observation, wow, the smell hits you. So that's something I want to talk about for this video is the smell. When things die, there's a smell. And if you haven't ever encountered that smell before, you have no idea why I'm making the face that I'm making, or what that smell actually attracts, or who it attracts, and why I am out here in the shed. So yeah, the shed's kind of broken down. This is old. It's on the property. We have about 3 acres, and then plus we have extra desert next to us, wash. There's all kinds of desert around us, so plenty of space to have roadkill mangled javelina on the property to be able to watch how the animals behave around it and let it continue to be part of the food chain. When they're all done, if the skull and everything's still intact well enough, we'll be able to use it for our museum. So if you are new to the channel and you just swipe through and you're like, wow, what is she talking about? But I'm kind of interested. My name is Stacy. I am the founder of the nonprofit Desert Nature Alliance. We're out here in Gold Canyon, Arizona, and dedicated to the animals and to learning about the animals and the science that is involved in the animals. A lot of times it seems like when we talk about science, everybody wants to go into computers or the technology end of it, but there's a considerable amount of science when you look at something like the decomposition that's happening right now. So I have a video we just made that's all the little worms, little bugs that are part of the decomposition of the beginning of it, and I've got that for the teachers that are out there that follow us along so they can use that video and stop and they can, identify the different bugs. I am not your expert on, I believe it's entomology, not even close. I am your field scientist. I go out, I locate all of this stuff, bring it on back in, and then use it for the education the best we can. So right now I am in the shed. We are waiting to see if the turkey vultures are going to show up, and why would the turkey vultures show up. So they are your nature's cleanup crew is what we call them, but they have the best olfactory system. Their sense of smell is amazing. And so that's something I wanted to touch on, but I'm not going to tell you everything. Like I said, these videos also go out to teachers and people that are learning online. So I'm just that little bit of extra something that helps you go. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sitting in here right now. We're waiting for the turkey vultures to show up. It's roughly about 10 o'clock in the morning. We got the javelina over to the off the road and into the desert about 5:30ish. The first turkey vulture showed up on the telephone pole over there roughly about 7 o'clock in the morning. So came down here waiting to see how it was gonna respond to it, and it didn't at all. Stayed on the telephone pole, smelled for a little while, flew away. Closer to 8 o'clock, we were down here. I wanted to take some of the worms and the larvae that are already working on the carcass and then move it to other things that we're working on, the bats that I'm working on right now, and saw one turkey vulture just hovering over. So their sense of smell, the smell of something dead. So we're going to talk about that just for a little bit in this video. Won't make the video too long, but hopefully, like I said, it'll help those of you that are learning or teaching or working on this subject just a little bit. And you can go follow us along with the other videos that we're going to keep making through this observation. So today what we are looking for and some of the questions that we are hoping to answer are, last night this javelina was spotted on too much of the road. It was moved off into the road, into the desert, to where somebody could, like us, could come pick it up. It was a whole animal at that point. By 5 o'clock this morning, the whole entire center of it has been ripped open. Unfortunately, I couldn't tell you who did it. Coyote or bobcat, either one of those are possible out here. Okay, why do I not think it's the turkey vultures that did it? Because they are not out in the evening, they are not nocturnal, so it was not the turkey vultures that had ripped the animal open overnight and moved it around that way. But in the daytime, I fully expect it to be the turkey vultures first that are going to come at it and rip through it with all the bugs and everything else. So that's what we're sitting out here waiting for them to pick up on the scent. And as it gets warmer, that scent really happens. So that's what I want to pose to you for all of our mini scientists that are out there. Does that make sense to you? Why, as it warms up, would I smell this more? Does it, when it is warmer, do you get a stronger scent of something that is decomposing? Would you get less of a scent when it is cold out? And why? So I think those are some of the beginner steps when you are learning some of your science and how this actually works and how the food chain works. Smell is very important. How far that scent is going to travel, picking it up into the air is going to pick up a smell. How does that work? Molecules, we're talking about how does that work? So that's some of the science that I want you to start thinking of, hoping we poking at your brain a little bit about, like, okay, well, what is she looking for out here? We already know that some of the smallest creatures possible are working on the carcass. The flies have already got their, like, some tiny little bugs, tiny little larvae have already descended upon that, and it's a feast for them. Then you have the larger, like I said, the turkey vultures. So when you're looking at roadkill animal like this, getting it off the road, getting it safer for these animals to work on, it continues to be part of the food chain. And then we're able to watch and monitor and see how they behave around it. Now, part of me would have thought the minute I put something like that out on this property, animals are going to come, like we ring the dinner bell or something, and they would start eating it. That's not how it's working. So far we're almost at 4.5, 5 hours of it sitting out there, warming up in the sun. The smell is there, but it's not calling everybody that we're asking for. So that is what we are looking for. What just fell? Well, out here, of course, I'm a little jumpy. I'm in the desert. There can be snakes. There's all kinds of things out here, you guys. It was my mask. I did bring a mask. I have, so I have my, this is my clipboard for notes and everything that we're watching, and, just keeping it all, legit. But it stinks. It really does smell. And sitting out here with the flies and stuff is kind of gross. So I've just got my Vicks Vapor Rub kind of stuff, put it on my nose. And then when I'm not on camera, I will have my mask on while I'm sitting out here. But it's hard. Like, if you're trying to read my lips, you're not going to be able to do it this way. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be sitting out here sweating a little bit, the smell, and watching to see who, if anything, shows up, and keeping track of it. I was just talking a little bit ago about something that I thought was fascinating in one of the trials that had happened quite a few years back, and it was the trial of Casey Anthony. Her daughter had gone missing. And when her mom had called the 911 about the grandchild being missing, something she had said was the trunk of the car smells like a damn dead body has been in it. And that played a very big part, or significant part, of that trial, of the smell, or being able to identify a smell. Or could you, if you've ever smelled something dead before, it's a smell that stays with you. Now, I do, if you follow me online, or if you're aware, I do a lot of this not so much taxidermy. I do what I call articulation. I work with the bones, put the bones back together, skeletons, skulls, that kind of stuff. And yes, there is a significant smell that comes off of a dead animal, and a different one from the javelina, say or a bird, or from a coyote. Everyone has different smells that they emit, I guess is how you would say it, when they die, when their body starts to decompose. And I believe it has to do with the type of food that they eat, type of animal they are. So it has to do with all that. I have never been around a decomposing body in the desert, so I could not tell you I know what that smells like. Absolutely not. I have been to, I want to say it was GCU, went to they have an anatomy and a morgue, kind of, I don't even know what you'd even call it, but was able to see the cadavers that they work on. And that's a completely different kind of smell, especially when you're now in a school medical setting. So I still had not, I've never smelled a body that was put away improperly, decomposing. Different smell. So at the trial, that became a very big critical point, if you could identify that smell or not, and the science that went behind it of, could they capture that smell? Could you actually take the smell from the trunk of the car and allow people to open something and still smell it? Could you put something in there where that smell would permeate, say a rag or a sponge or something, and allow that smell to be moved where other people could go, oh, I recognize that smell, or not? Now, if you put the smell of, like, this javelina, and this is not the first that I've been around, if you put that smell in front of me, I would recognize it. If you put the smell of a dead body in front of me, I don't think I'd recognize it, but I've been around enough of these different animals decomposing that I probably would. But the question I would pose to you and everyone else, and why I thought it was fascinating at the time, and I kept watching the trial for this almost in particular, if you've never smelled decomposition before, but you're put in the place of, I have to be a juror, I have to judge something, would you willingly put your nose up to a can knowing that's what you were getting ready to smell, or that's what they thought it was if you hadn't before? Now, for someone like me who has smelled all kinds of gross things, I probably wouldn't hesitate much. Some would be curiosity, but I do recognize the smells. Not that I like it, but I would recognize it. And so I think I would be able to do it, but it would bother me knowing they think it is the smell of this particular child that might have been in the trunk. See, there's ethics that are involved in some of it. So now if I was just the scientist learning how to create a machine that could capture smells is one thing. Being that person on the other end of it and smelling it and making a judgment on it was a whole other. And so I thought it was absolutely fascinating. The trial, we won't get into the answers or everything that went on with that. But that part of the science I thought was amazing, and I would dare say if you could look it up, or parts of the trial where they really cover that, whether and both sides fought it back and forth, whether it was legitimate or not, whether that was a way that you should be able to judge things off of the smell. So the one side had said the back of the trunk was just trash was bad trash that she had left there, and the other side was saying, no, we think that that's where that she had placed the body of the small child. And so fascinating. So smells. So your nose plays a huge role in your observations and doing observation, and how you can learn about everyone. I've been out hiking before, and we reached a certain point where the cat urine smell was excessively strong. But out, we were hiking, and all of a sudden, now I have mountain lions in this area, and we have bobcats in this area. I wasn't going to go any further knowing what I had just smelled. There was no question in my mind that it was cat urine. Those of you that have cats, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you smell that out somewhere, you'd be like, oh, there's a cat. If I'm out on a mountain somewhere and I smell that strong a cat, somebody's marked that area. I need to back away, and we did. So hopefully I opened up your brain a little bit more on the why is she sitting out here, why is she going to get her mask, the smells, what the smells are attracting, what you can learn from the smells. So stick around. Right now, like I said, so far, no turkey vultures have come, but we're expecting a high of 91. That's going to really toast up that carcass that's out there, and we'll see if anyone shows up. We're going to be putting the cameras on it, probably the night cameras, so if anyone wants to come, any of the nocturnal players come at night, they're going to want to try to drag it away. I'm going to have to figure out a way to keep the carcass in place, so stay tuned. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.